Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and in this video I'm bringing you guys a deck guide for dummies and some gameplay on this Lucian Aggro Scouts list, Sand Scouts. I really like this deck. This has been by far my favorite deck of the new set. It is super fun. It is, my playstyle of this aggro combo playstyle, as well as it beats a lot of the top decks in the meta right now. It beats your Freljord, Shadow Isles control decks. It beats your Shurima, SI aggro decks. It beats a lot of the slower, greedier decks. So I am a huge fan of this deck right now. It's brand new. Essentially what it is you're playing the old Scouts archetype, except just strictly better. So instead of playing Bilgewater to pair it with Misfortune, you're pairing it with Azir. And it's Lucian Aggro. So the general overview of the deck is you just play Lucian, you play something like Emperor's Deus or Azir that makes 1/1 ephemerals that attack every time you attack. You get a scout unit out, so that way you're summoning 1/1 ephemerals multiple times a turn. You level Lucian on like turn 4 and attack with him on turn 4 with double strike, and you just end the game somewhere around turn 4, turn 5 with this really big like double strike combo. So, before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys that 80% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you could do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button, it helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And that's it. And let's get into the video. So now we're going to go over the purpose of each card, why it's in the deck, the purpose it serves in the deck, and how you should be playing the card. So we'll just start at the top, go to the bottom. So 18 Preparations is a 1-mana landmark. This card is insane. This card helps bring your entire deck together. It makes your deck extremely consistent. You get to play it on turn 1. Then you get a random little clockling on turn 3, which is nice, and I'll go more into that. But it predicts, and the predict is really big. It fluids out your draws, makes it so you can find your Lucian, find your Azir, and find your Deus. Like, those are your 3 combo pieces. These are your, essentially, like, this deck cheats. You get to play 9 champions. You get to play 3 Lucian, 3 Azir, and 3 Deus. Deus is its own champion. So this allows you to find the pieces you're missing. I like to say you have Lucian, but you don't have a Sand Soldier Maker. Like, you don't have Deus, you don't have Azir. Well, you can use Preparations to go ahead and find you one of those. Or if you're playing against SI Freljord and you really need a Ranger's Resolve, you can go and use this to try and find the Ranger's Resolve. Stuff like that. So this is really good at making your draws really smooth and making your deck super consistent. On top of that, you get a 2/2 on turn 3, which is really big because on turn 3 is when you're going to play your Azir, and that's when you have Lucian. And sometimes you don't want to attack with Azir. Sometimes you don't want to attack with Lucian. Maybe your opponent has like, a 3/4 or a 4/3 with mana to have like some type of combo trick or combat trick or something like that. And you don't really feel safe attacking with your combo backline champions. Then there you go. This card gives you a free 2/2 to go ahead and just swing. And that way you can proc your Azir or your Deus. You can start leveling up your Lucian, and you're not putting your champions at risk. 3 Dunekeeper. Dunekeeper is not an aggro card in this deck. Like, I have literally never played Dunekeeper on turn 1 to attack. The only time I've ever played Dunekeeper on turn 1 is to block my opponent's Dunekeeper. This card is just combos well with Azir, with Lucian, and with Marshall. I am most of the time either playing this card on turn 4 to like win the game with Lucian. It's like Lucian Dunekeeper plus Rally. Or I'm playing this card on turn 6 after I have an Inspiring Marshal in play. And this card instead of turns into... and the reason for that is this. If you play Dunekeeper on turn 1, the ceiling for this card is it's 1 mana, deal 4 damage. The floor for this card is 1 mana, you have a 2/1 body in play. If you wait until a couple turns later, if you wait until you have Lucian in play, the floor, or the ceiling is the same, but the floor turns into 1 mana, at least you give your Lucian 1 level up, and you have a 2/1 body in play. If you wait until after you have a Marshal in play, the ceiling is now insane, where instead of it being 1 mana deal 4 damage, it's 1 mana deal 8 damage. It literally doubles the damage. And then your floor is doubled as well, where instead of just at the floor having a 2-1 body in play, you'll have a 4-1 body in play. And this makes attacking so much easier, especially on turn 6 when your opponent probably has a decent number of, chunky units in play. 3 health, 4 health units. Playing this Dune Keeper with the Marshal in play makes it so your opponents can't just, eat blocks. They don't have good setups on blocks. Your opponent's going to trade down their 4 or 5 drop into your 1 drop. And that's, absolutely insane mana advantage and tempo value. So I never play this card on turn 1 unless it's a block. This is a really good anti-aggro card. A lot of the bad matchups are aggro matchups. So playing this card into your opponents like House Spiders or, Dune Keeper, something like that to get multiple blocks in a turn can sometimes just completely negate your opponent's attack. And that's really, really good because all you need to do is buy time to level up Lucian and then rally and then win the game in 1 turn. Ranger's Resolve is in here for the SI Fairlord matchup. Really, really big in that matchup. You hard mulligan for it. There, I mean, just same reason you played in Scouts. Shapestone is nice in here for a nice pump spell. This card is better than Sharpsight most of the time when you're pushing damage. The only benefit Sharpsight has to it is the actual being able to block elusive units, which right now TF is a pretty big problem. So there could be an argument to play some number of Sharpsights so you can block the TF. But for the most part, 1 mana plus 3 power and plus 1 health is really, really big and helps you push through damage a lot of the time. You can use this card on things like your Binding Assault to make it uptrade into a Soraka on turn 3, stuff like that, or your opponent's Azir in the mirror match. You can play Binding Assault, they play, Azir, and you go, okay, buff my Binding Assault, now I can kill your Azir. And you're really, really happy with that. Inspiring Chronomancer. So I'm playing 1 Chronomancer and 2 Brightsteel Protector. This is because Inspiring Chronomancer does the same thing as Ancient Preparations. It just helps you smooth out your draws and make your draws more consistent. And the hands that you look really, really bad, because by this point, obviously you want to be playing either Sundays or Lucian on turn 2. Well, if you don't have one of those, you need to be playing this card to try and find your Lucian win con, or try and find your Sundays win con, or try and find your Azir win con, stuff like that. So again, it just smooths out your draws, and then if you play this on 2 and then Azir on 3, again, now you have a good unit you can go ahead and attack with if you don't want to put your Azir in trouble and risk attacking with your Azir. 3 Binding Assault because Scout's really good, Challenger's really good. It helps deal with backline champions, helps deal with elusives. And this card levels up Lucian really, really fast because it's Scouts, and Scouts works with, all your Sand Soldier makers. So you get twice as many little Sand Soldiers, and it kills cards. Brightsteel Protector, I only play 2 Brightsteel, and that's because the only targets for Brightsteel Protector in this deck are Lucian and Binding Assault. I don't think I've really ever used Protector on anything else, because you just want to make sure your Lucian doesn't die, and then you can use it on Binding Assault to make your Binding Assault uptrade into something with 4 health. And that's, really fucking good. And so that's the only time I ever use that. So that's why I'm not playing 3, because you typically want 1 Protector probably a game, maybe even, but you really rarely ever want to actually draw more than 1 Protector. We play Emperor's Day. So Emperor's Day, Lucian, and Azir are all just your win conditions. These are your champions of the deck. Day is just making Sand Soldiers to level up your Lucian. Lucian to, get free rallies and attack and OTK your opponent. And Azir because it does the same thing as Deus, except it's tacked onto a 1/5 body, which is great at blocking your aggro opponents like 2/1s and 3/1s and stuff like that. As well as when Azir does level, it produces an insane amount of damage. Single combat. So the only reason I put single combat into this deck is because Cataclysm at the time of recording is bugged, and Cataclysm is essentially broken to where you can't play it because it has a lot of bad side effects. But when Cataclysm is fixed, you will want to play Cataclysm instead of single combat. Now, Cataclysm is challenges in an enemy unit, so this helps you deal with backline champions like the Twisted Fates, the Aphelios, the opponent's Azir, stuff like that that's just sitting in the back and not really engaging in combat. This allows you to challenge it with any unit and try and it triggers all of your attack stuff like your Azir and your Sundeus, so that way you get all of the 1/1 soldiers when you attack. Also, you can combo Cataclysm with a scout unit, and if you use Cataclysm on a scout unit, it actually rallies you, because the way it's worded is an ally starts a free attack challenging an enemy unit. The way scout is worded says the first time you attack with only scout units, you ready your attack. So because this is giving a free attack, and you use it on a scout unit that is attacking alone, you essentially reset your attack token, so you get a free rally, and that's a really nice combo to have. On top of, you can use this on first strike units like Lucian, or on just your bigger units down here to kill something bigger. Next, we'll go into Azir. Like I said, Azir just wins you games. Pursuit, I played 3 Pursuit because the ideal curve with this deck is you pass on turn 1, play Lucian on turn 2, attack, play Azir on turn 3, and then on turn 4, you have enough mana to go Binding Assault, Rally. And that turn alone can probably win you the game. If not win you the game, it's dealing an insane amount of damage. On top of that, I mean, you just need Pursuit to kind of end games with all of your attack tokens. And it's just really strong when you're playing stuff like Lucian. And this is the best card you have against control decks. Most of the time, control decks are in a spot a lot of the time where they have to make a play. And they essentially just say the words like, if they have Rally, they have it. And I lose the game. And because of that, that's why we play 3 Rally. Grizzled Ranger, because it's a scout unit, so it triggers your Sand Soldiers twice. And Grizzled Ranger is a really nice body. It's a 3-1 that makes a 3-4. Marshall, because it's insane for your mental late game. If you don't kill your opponent on turn 4 or turn 5 with Lucian combo, Inspiring Marshal makes your Sand Soldiers absolutely broken. It turns all of your Sand Soldiers into Decimates. So anytime your opponent, before Marshall, your opponent goes, oh yeah, I'm not going to block the 1-1, you know, I'll take the 2 damage, stuff like that. And you're slowly chipping away. When you play Marshall, it's no longer, oh, I'm not going to block the 1-1, I'll take a little bit of damage. No, it's, dude, you have to block this 3-1, because if you don't, it's taking away 20% of your life total, which is a big deal for a Sand Soldier that you're going to get for free anyways. Like, you're already getting the Sand Soldier, might as well make it huge. And then Inspiring Marshal, on top of that, I'm pretty sure this card's going to get nerfed to a 4-5. I think this card should be a 4-5 for sure. It's an amazing blocker. This card blocks almost every 5-drop, and it not only just blocks, it blocks and then beats most played 5-drops at the moment. Like, look at Sivir is like a 4-mana 5-3. You play this card, they can't attack you. Your opponent plays a Ruined Runner, a 5-mana 6-4 Overwhelm with Spell Shield. That card's really fucking good. Well, guess what? You have a 5-mana 4-6 that can block it and take no damage. If you have a spell, like if you have the Ranger Resolve or the Stone Shaped, well, now your Inspiring Marshal is living. So you're blocking the 6-4 Overwhelm Spell Shield unit, and it's dying, and you keep your Marshal to win in the next turns, which is crazy. So the body on this thing is absolutely insane. And then the last card in this deck is Cithria the Bold. And a lot of people say, hey, why don't you just play Genevieve? Because Genevieve is Scout. Scout obviously synergizes with like Azir, Deus, and Lucian. The big thing is that Cithria actually buffs all of your Sandy Boys. It makes it so they can't get chumped blocked by small units, and it gives the Sandy Boys +1/+1. Cithria does not do that. Cithria is an ETB, so it only happens once. So Cithria will buff all of the units in play currently, but won't actually affect any Sand Soldiers. So the fact that Cithria buffs your Sand Soldiers by making them fearsome and giving them +1/+1 is just really, really good. And that's why Cithria is just strictly better than Genevieve. So that's the reason why every card is in this deck and the purpose and how you should play each card. The next part of this video is going to be going over your general curves and what curves you want to look at to play in this deck. Combo turns with this deck, and these are the turns that you want to do the most on. These are the turns that are very, very big turns in your game plan. So you're going to want to try and pull off one of these turns. If you're trying to play this deck like an aggro deck, you are going to fail a lot of the time. A lot of people try and play this deck like a pure aggro deck where they play on curve and they go, okay, play my Dune Keeper on turn 1, play my Blinding Assault, you know, Chronomancer, Lucian on turn 2, play my unit on 3, unit on 4, unit on 5, and they just try and play it like a tempoed out aggro deck like it's, you know, trying to be like a mid-range deck or a tempo deck. And that's not really how I play this deck, and that's not really how I think the deck should be played, or at least this version, the way that it's built. So you definitely want to just play it more like combo deck, and so these are the turns that are very important to you and that you want to do well. So this curve is one of the most common curves, and this levels up your Lucian quickly, and so it allows you to gain board control most of the time, and then makes your opponent very scared of what's about to happen the next turns. It makes all of your future turns just game ending. You can essentially end the game on like turn 5 with this curve. It makes every turn really good. So this curve is you want to pass on turn 1. You're going to hold open 1 spell mana. And on turn 2, you're going to play your Lucian and attack. This works best if you're attacking on evens. You want to play your Lucian on turn 2 and attack. On turn 3, you want to play your Azir. And then on turn 4, you should have 5 total mana because we passed on turn 1. So on turn 4, you want to be able to play your Blinding Assault. You want to swing with Blinding Assault. This will trigger with just a scout attack. So this will trigger your Azir making a Sand Soldier, and your Blinding Assault will usually die challenging a unit. And that way, you get 2 units that died because you have the Sand Soldier that died and you have the Blinding Assault that died. And then now you can attack with just Lucian or Lucian and Azir to get another Sand Soldier that died. So if that makes 3 total units that have died the turn. You have the Blinding Assault and then both Sand Soldiers that have died. and then you go ahead and you rally here on turn 4. And then on turn 4, what this does is this allows you to swing out with your Azir and your Lucian again, and you'll make another Sand Soldier off of Azir, and this will level your Lucian. Now, you're not really winning on this turn. This is just a nice way to guarantee that your Lucian levels, so any Lucian you draw on future turns can potentially, like, you know, are leveled and can win you the game. And then now, every single turn, your opponent has to be very, very scared about ever killing a unit, blocking a unit, or attacking, because you're just gonna, you know, they're guaranteeing that you get a rally, and you're just gonna run away with the game at that point. The second curve, there are 3 main curves. The second curve is a curve that can win you the game on turn 4. This curve is you play Ancient Preparation on turn 1. That's your landmark that summons a Clockling on turn 3. On turn 2, you want to play Deus. On turn 3, you want to play Lucian. And then on turn 4, you want to play Blinding Assault and Rally. The way this works is on turn 4, you play Blinding Assault, and you swing in the same thing as earlier. You know, you have the Blinding Assault dies, the Sand Soldier dies. You normal attack. You have a Sand Soldier will die, and then they could also block the 2/2 Clockling from Ancient Preparation. If they block the Clockling from Ancient Preparation, your Lucian levels. That's the 4th one. And then, after that, you can rally. If they block the Ancient Preparation, the Clockling, your Lucian levels, you play rally. You attack with Lucian now. Your Lucian summons a 1/1 Sand Soldier. The Sand Soldier dies, so Lucian makes you rally again, and then you get to attack again with the leveled up Double Strike Lucian and another Sand Soldier on turn 4. So doing this, you've attacked with a 4/4 Double Strike Lucian twice, 2 power units, and 4 1/1 Sand Soldiers. You've attacked with 4 Sand Soldiers. So that is going to, if that does not win you the game on turn 4, your opponent will be at such a low life total that any amount of units attacking with the Sun Deus and play summoning Sand Soldiers is more than likely going to close out the game. And the last curve we're going to talk about is the later game curves with your Marshal on turn 5. So Marshal is an extremely good card and extremely good combo piece for the later turns. And the way this works is before your turn 5, you need to play some type of Soldier Maker, either Azir or Sun Deus. And then, obviously, you would like to have Lucian in play, but Lucian is not actually needed for this curve. Obviously, again, if you do have the Lucian, your Lucian will level, and this is going to be a guaranteed win. But if you do not have Lucian, this curve is still insane and applies an insane amount of damage. So, all you need for the setup is, again, a Soldier Maker before turn 5, and then to have the Marshal on turn 5. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Inspiring Marshal here, the 4/6 says whenever you summon another ally, give it +2/+0. This way, you play Marshal on 5, and then on turn 6 is when you're wanting to attack. On turn 6, you want to open with Blinding Assault. If you notice, a lot of our combos have to deal with this really cheap Scout unit. Blinding Assault's now a 4/1. You attack with Blinding Assault to kill any 4 health unit that your opponent plays on turn 6. You know, that means your 2 mana Blinding Assault is now up trading into like a 3 or 4 mana unit. Sometimes it's a champion, and that you're really happy. And then if you have a Sand Soldier Maker out, you'll summon a 3/1 Sand Soldier that's representing 4 damage. Your opponent's going to have to block that. After you attack with Blinding Assault, you play Dune Keeper. Dune Keeper is 1 mana, deal 8 damage. Your opponent's going to have to block this 4/1 Dune Keeper and the 3/1 Sand Soldier that Dune Keeper made. Plus, while attacking, your Azir, or whatever it is you're using to make Sand Soldiers, makes another 3/1 Sand Soldier. And you're attacking with a 4/6 Inspiring Marshal, which is another really hard body to block, representing a lot of damage. So they're going to have to block another 4 units here. And then you'll have enough mana to rally and do it all again. And attack again with your Inspiring Marshal or your Azir. If it is Azir, your Azir will almost guaranteed be leveled by this point. And then you get to swing with Azir and represent another insane amount of damage. So to put things into perspective on how this is winning you the game, your opponent would have to have blocked and or spent mana to kill a 2/1, a 3/1 Sand Soldier, a 4/1, another 3/1 Sand Soldier, another 3/1 Sand Soldier, block your 4/6 Marshal, probably block your Azir, rally, block your Inspiring Marshal, block another 3/1 Sand Soldier, block a leveled up Azir. They would have to find a way to block and or deal with a minimum of 10 units this turn. And of course, this is not taking into account if you have any other units in play or any other Deus in play. Because of course, this is at minimum with 1 Azir and 1 Marshal. You could obviously have a Deus and Azir and a Marshal. That adds another, I think, 4 3/1s that your opponent has to block. This could also have a Lucian, which gives you an entire another attack, and it makes it so they have a 4 power double strike unit to block. Like, you could also, in the crazy scenarios, have another, like, scout unit or something like that, or a second Dune Keeper, if you have any amount of spell mana. Because, of course, this is also going off of if you have no spell mana. This is just the raw 6 unit mana. So if you have any spell mana, then you can go again by playing another Dune Keeper, or by playing a 1 mana plus 3 pump spell, or playing another Blinding Assault, or another Rally if you have all 3 spell mana. Like, the combos with this deck are insane. You can get super creative with these combos. You just have to find a way to get as many attacks in and push as much damage with your Sand Soldiers as possible. Like, this deck is so cool, man. This deck is so cool, and there's so many combos you can just create on the spot. It's like when you play a fighting game and you get to play a character where it just has a lot of flexibility and improvisation, and you just get to come up with combos on the spot. That's essentially what this deck is. You're playing Joker. You're essentially playing Joker in LOR. It's absolutely fun and crazy. So this curve will more than likely end the game on turn 6, or will again put your opponent at such a low life total that any one unit attacking from that point on will kill your opponent. So those are the curves you want to play with the deck, and that's how you look for combo turns. You want to look for the combo turns when you have the rallies, and you can just put out an insane amount of units attacking, an insane amount of damage. So the last thing we'll go over in this deck guide is mulligans, what decks you want to mulligan aggressively for, and what cards you just want in your general mulligan. And then I'll have a mulligan guide in my Discord, and I'll let you guys know more about that in the next upcoming session. Alright, and in this last section, we're going to go over the mulligan guide. So, generally what you want to mulligan for here is Lucian, Azir, and Deus. Those are your 3 champions in the deck. So, anything other than those is alright, but those are the 3 that you really want. Cards that I'm typically never mulliganing away are going to be Ancient Preparations. Even though it's not, you know, Azir, Lucian, or Deus, it can find you Azir, Lucian, or Deus, and that's really good. Same as Aspiring Chronomancer. You can also keep this card because it predicts, so it has a good chance at setting up your deck to be more consistent. So the general rule is just try and find something like that. Try and find your Ancient Prep, your Lucian, Deus, and Azir. So any combination of those cards. In specific scenarios, I would keep Ranger's Resolve or dig for Ranger's Resolve against exactly Shadow Isle's Freljord. If you draw Ranger's Resolve against like the Lissandra Trundle deck, you probably can't lose because they're just going to try and set up for a really big Avalanche or a really big Withering Whale, and they're just going to Ranger's Resolve and probably win the game off of it. And then the only other card that I hard mulligan for, or not hard mulligan for, but would keep in an interesting scenario, is I keep Inspiring Marshal against mid-range style decks, ones that I know aren't going to rush me down, but ones that I know have interaction, so I'm not going to win on turn 4 with Lucian. Like, you know, decks that play single combat or challenger style units. And that's just because Inspiring Marshal is a really nice 5-mana unit. It's really well statted, and it can help you win those, like, late games through your opponent having good mid-range units with stuff like, you know, if you play Marshal on 5 and you're attacking on 6, and then you open up with, like, you know, Blinding Assault or something like a Dune Keeper, where you just go so wide with all of these really cheap 4 power units, it forces your opponent to block with all of their units, and you should come out ahead, and that's how you can fight for board state against those mid-range decks. So, against each archetype, against aggro, your best cards are going to be Dune Keeper, Inspiring Chronomancer, and Brightsteel Protector, and so these are to help you not die. If they're aggro decks that don't have ways to kill Lucian, you really want Lucian and like Deus or Lucian and Rally, because you can typically level and kill them with Lucian before they end up killing you. And these are the like Shadow Isle, Shurima aggro decks that have 0 removal spells for your Lucian. You can actually just go all in on the Lucian game plan and then win the game on like turn 4 or 5. Against mid-range decks, like I said, I just really look for Inspiring Marshal. Lucian here is less than good because most mid-range decks at this point in time play some sort of interaction, whether it's single combat or challenger, something of that nature. So Lucian can still win you the game, but it's very unlikely. Also, a lot of mid-range decks play units that are just bigger than Lucian, so it's really hard to ever attack with him. And against the control or slower style archetypes, you really want Lucian. But aside from that, you want Deus. So I actually hard mulligan for Emperor's Deus against things like Shadow Isle and Freljord, because what that does is it turns every single unit you draw into like 6 damage. So every unit you ever play from that point on it's a threat in itself, because it's not just, you know, I didn't just play a Chronomancer and I'm representing 2 damage. I'm playing a Chronomancer, and if I have 2 Deus out, now this Chronomancer is representing 6 damage, which is over a quarter of their life total. So Deus is super, super strong against the slow control decks, especially since there's actually just no way for them to remove them. Most control decks aren't playing removal spells for landmarks until like turn 8 with an If That Stairs, and even then If That Stairs is usually like a 1-of. So this is a really, really big way that you can beat Shadow Isle's Freljord control decks as alongside with the Ranger's Resolve. I'm currently 13-2 with Azir Lucian against Shadow Isle Freljord control, because I hard mulligan for the Deus and hard mulligan for Ranger's Resolve. So that's it for the mulligan guide. If you want a more in-depth matchup guide on how to play against specific matchups, based off of, I'll be going over how to play against each of the top tier decks in a document that's in my Discord. So if you go join my Discord, it's in the link in the description. There will be a tab called Deck Guides. You just go into there, you'll see where it says, you know, Azir Lucian, or look for whichever deck you're looking for the deck guide for, and you just download that document, and then it'll tell you everything you need to know. So that's gonna be for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you did. Go join my Discord so you get notification on everything, and follow me on Twitch because I'm streaming on there almost every day. I dropped down to part-time on my job, so because I've been fortunate enough to have my stream go really, really well and my YouTube do well. So make sure to stop by and say hi and say congratulations. So that's gonna be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.